So actually, we as a consumer, we don't
Are you
really
aware
know
of the
that.
average car unit?
All of you are kings and queens in your own home with your own throne that you can sit on and decide and let the business continue to woo you.
Welcome to another episode of Consumer Voice. This is the in-house program of the Consumer Protection Council that tells you all about your rights as a consumer and what to do whenever you feel they have been breached. Road transport remains the key mode of transportation for people, goods, and services in Nigeria. The Yuletide season is here, and this appears to be the most challenging time for road users because many Nigerians take advantage of this period to travel and visit, celebrate with their family and loved ones. Therefore, in accordance with our mandate to ensure the safety of Nigerian consumers, which in this case are all road users, we're using this episode to educate you on safe traveling during this period. To discuss this, we'll have in the studio from the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Assistant Corps Marshal, Mr. Jonas Agwu, who is the Zonal Commanding Officer in charge of Zone 7. That is, the FCT and Niger State. You can expect to learn so much from our discussion. Still on the program are our usual segments. But first, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight to our discussion segments with my colleague, Mr. Jerry Bent. Stay with us.
The Yuletide season is here, a time where our roads all across the country will be tested, people moving from one place to the other. And the number one concern for us as the Consumer Protection Council is safety. What is on the minds of the passengers? What is on the minds of the drivers? This and a lot more we'll be asking today on Consumer Voice.
As a driver, in the morning before I move my car, I'll check the necessary things. I check my radiator water, I check my tire, check my engine oil, all necessary things to make sure that I don't get delay on my way.
You know, every good traveler prays for Johnny Mercy. And anybody that wants to travel, always look for a good standard vehicle to apply on. And secondly, I want to encourage the drivers in their speed limit. They should be careful the way they drive.
For every traveler, the first thing on your mind is safety, arriving where you want to go to in good condition. And to achieve that is to have a sound vehicle. Even if, apart from praying and asking for God's help to grant safety, we also need to play our own part also, which is making sure that there is the vehicle is sound, there is maintenance of the vehicle, the tires, the driver is also conscious, not a driver that is tired.
I have only an advice to road users and via road safety, those who are in charge of the road issues. Number one, they should be able to weigh the driver condition, even the owners of the buses. Another one, someone may wait to come in the morning before coming to drive, he went and drink. It's a problem because then he will not value people's life. And people checking about the time. I want to be leaving Abuja 9, I want to be in Enugu by 2, not minding the people's life. I advise that it is better for you to even drive 6 hours or 7 hours and get there alive than you want to take 3-4 hours and see yourself in a grave.
Welcome to the interview segment. And today on the program from the Federal Road Safety Corps, I have with me Assistant Corps Marshal Jonas Agwu, the Zonal Commanding Officer in charge of Zone 7, that's the FCT and Niger State. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, and compliments.
Okay, sir. Sir, as you know, this is the Yuletide period, in this case, Christmas. And this is when you have your work cut out for you, sir. So can you just tell us what the FRSC has planned for this season?
Okay. Like rightly said, this season is one of our most tasking season, and is a regular thing. For every other year, you're looking at Christmas.
Yes.
And Christmas is not the only season when we face that challenge. You have Salah, you have Easter. But for this reason, of course, today right here in the FCT where I supervise, we just commence a pre-run of our end of year special patrol.
Okay.
Could name Operation Zero Tolerance. What we're saying as an agency is that we believe that as Nigerians, we can go all through the hug of the Christmas rush without one death. That's the whole essence of Operation Zero. We won't tolerate one death, and so we expect Nigerians to key into that theme and drive in that same direction.
From your years of experience during these Yuletide seasons, what have you learned? What have you seen that you can say to Nigerians? Anything that you can say to us that can help us in this season? You
can say we have good Nigerians, and there are the few bad ones. I'm being conscious in using the word the few because of a book my professor gave me, the 80-20 principle, that simply says that 20% of the people who will drive during this season will be responsible for 80% of the crashes or the bad driving habits.
Oh.
So what we must do is select those 20 people, know who they are, and work towards stopping them from creating a bad record for us as an agency.
Oh. It's undeniable that the state of our roads, for some of our roads, it's really in a bad shape and contributes to the high rates of accident as well. Where would you say are the black spots, and why would you say they are the black spots?
Okay, each time I'm thrown the question about the state of our roads and how much it contributes to a road crash, sometimes you tend to think that the people driving are blind people. What I'm saying so is the state of our roads are a given. That's the way I put it. Do we have roads that needs to be upgraded? Yes. Do we have roads where the appropriate road signages are not there? Yes. Do we have roads where government must expand? Yes. So it's not as if we don't know that we have those conditions as a developing society. So when a man jumps into a vehicle, hits the speed of 140, 160, uses the phone at the same time and crashes, then blames the road, I tend to be different. Because that crash was not caused by that road. It was caused by your behavior behind the wheel. It is your responsibility to say, you know what, let me watch what I do. But I'll tell you, few Nigerians really bother to ask you if there are blood spots. For all they care is, I started driving before you joined school. You went to school. So don't worry, I can close my eyes and go to the east or go to the north, and we say to them, no. Driving is not about how much, yes, experience counts, but it's about learning to be careful every time you drive.
So essentially, no matter the state of the road,
yes,
the mindset of the
must
driver,
be right.
the attitude
Must be right.
We understand that overspeeding features prominently among the factors responsible for the carnage on our roads.
Yeah.
How do we avoid this? I know you've talked about mindsets and all that.
I must tell you that it's a worrying issue. On a daily basis, you find Nigerians thinking that the higher the speed you go, the better your driving habit. And we're saying to them, no. The higher the speed you go, the less the chances of you arriving where you think you're going to. And so right now, as we speak, overspeeding, loss of control, dangerous driving should be accounted for about 60-something percent loss for crashes. And that's why, as an agency, and we thank Mr. President for that, he's go ahead to say this speed limiter thing must be a reality. April 1st, enforce it. You know, if you've been following the trend, the argument, and the stakeholder meetings over the speed limiter, we've been shifting dates until Mr. President said April 1. We can't afford to have the lives of Nigerians being wasted on the highway. So that's one thing. But we're saying it's just pure. Most of the time when we talk about speed in FRSC, we'll tell you, you know what, the law gives you what is approved. It says don't drive above 100. So if you're driving your private car on the expressway, it says your maximum speed is 100 kilometers per hour. But if you're driving a